I have 3 poems. 2 of them mention the name John.
But do any of them mention the fact that Vito Carly is in the house?
Well, my 2 John ones aren't about John that I know of, so. This first one, and for those who know me and who know that I was in a band, the guy's name that you will hear, Warren, is actually mentioned in here, just for those who know. This is called Sheri. It's funny to think how we'd fight and fight. How I wanted to be the secretary. No, you wanted to have the date tonight. I wanted to use a purse. My sister would have to come into the basement and see why we were all yelling at each other. But I remember the one thing we used to always do when we played house or office or dress up. One of us would suggest going to John's ice cream parlor, and our rehearsed plan would immediately begin. You would walk to the door, I'd walk over to the freezer. On the count of 3, you would cough to muffle the sound of the icebox door being opened so that my parents wouldn't hear it, and then we'd have access to as much chocolate ice cream as we could handle. Oh, it was the one time that we would never argue. Do you remember when we'd make tents from our comforters, making little homes out of our twin-sized beds? And we'd have pen lights and old calculators or flashlights for underneath our blankets, and it would be just enough light for us, but not enough for our parents to see, so they'd think that we were actually sleeping. I remember I had always hogged the light, the little calculator that lit up green that my sister gave me, or the yellow pen light that was running out of power anyway, or that little pocket video game with red numbers that lit up the screen. And I would always use the dowel rod from that bear's pennant that hung in the corner of my apple green bedroom to hold up my blanket. You'd have to make do with whatever else you could possibly find. God, I was a bratty kid. You should have stood up to me. When you called me to tell me that your father died, I wanted to tell you that I'd give you that bigger dowel rod or even that calculator. I heard you crying from that goddamn hollow plastic telephone, and I remembered how you'd always come over because you didn't want to stay in your own home with your own family. As if my family was much better. But now you're crying for him back when all your life you ran from him. And I wanted to bring him back for you, but I couldn't, and I was far away, so I did what I do best. Got drunk at a local bar. I found some friends who happened to be there, and they consoled me for your loss, something I couldn't even do for you. For my best friend. I know I got aggravated when you got hysterical over your wedding plans, when you couldn't find the right hurricane lamp covers for the centerpieces for the tables for the reception. Maybe they'll have them at the warehouse, Janet. Why don't you come with me? You're always the one that does the talking. You always know what you're talking about. When you couldn't get all 300 chocolate guitars wrapped in tulle, then cellophane, then tied in gold foil with stars on it, then tied with the picks that you punch holes in, picks that say on them, Sheri and Warren. Janet, why are you the only person who showed up to help me? Why isn't anyone else here? Hey, I think you're cutting the tulle too big. None of those bridesmaids better get pregnant, you said, because the dresses wouldn't look right on them. And why is everyone complaining about 2-inch heels? And why isn't anyone interested in my wedding? I just want to tell you that I was interested in your wedding. Really. I was interested in the French door you got for the pantry in your new home. I wanted to make sure that the shine didn't come off the beads on that wedding dress that they sent to the cleaners. I wanted to see if that dress could fit me. Oh, probably not. not. You're so petite. And just think, you used to be taller than me when we were younger, playing Barbies on the pool table in the basement. I think I had a wedding dress for Barbie, the dream dress. And now I'll get to see that dress on you. The other day, my father said that he's glad to see one of his daughters get married without him having to foot the bill. And I thought you'd laugh at that. Well, maybe he won't have to foot the bill, but he'll still be losing a daughter, and we'll both be wiping the tears from our eyes. Two shorter ones on totally different themes. This one does not say the name John. This is called Where to Go. It was almost sunset, and there was no one at the beach. She walked there just to see the sunset, just to be able to calm herself down. She had to get away. She thought she couldn't take it anymore. His affair, her job, the kids' problems, her weight, the vacuuming and dusting. So she went to the beach. The waves gently lapped along the sandy shore, turning golden in color as the sun's rays darkened into a deeper and deeper red, into purple, into blue. A light breeze moved her hair like fingers running to the back of her head. An occasional seagull flew along the shore. There was no one in sight. She sat there, momentarily in peace. The breeze started to feel stronger and stronger, and she had to close her eyes from the burn of the wind and the sand. The sand ripped into her arms like tiny needles, piercing her skin. The waves grew higher and higher until they sounded like they were about to just land right on top of her. She finally opened her eyes. Her burning eyes saw that the waves were still only lapping at the shore. The sand had not moved. There was no breeze. She stood up. She couldn't take it anymore. She took off her shoes and sprinted away. This is the other one, which is not about the love of my life, John, but it happens to be called John. So this is a piece called John. On the other side of the room, I sense him through the cigarette smoke, the roar of conversation, and the dim lights. I look at his face, but I can no longer see John. I have dreamt and envisioned a godlike figure. I have imagined his sensitivity and his thoughtfulness. I have felt his hands caress my skin and his lips touch mine. He has held me 1,000 times, protecting me. I have rehearsed our moments together in my mind, the moments I have created. The candlelight dinners, the dancing, the loving, while never knowing him any more than glimpses of his face across a crowded room. The music blares as I look over my shoulder. Between the empty faces, I see his image, laughing, smiling, talking with friends, and my eyes flare with envy. I wonder why he is not with me, but I know the face across the room is not John. It is a door to a dream that will never be.